conceptual perspective to view things. People talk about a desire to be successful, all of the elements. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. I hope everybody has had a good start to their week to this point. I'm going to try to address an issue here that I have put a lot of time and energy and effort into addressing, and it's something that I'm passionate about, and it needs to be consistently called out for more than one reason. And I want to, first of all, remind you, don't forget to support the work we're doing. Show your love. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. If you followed me, you know the work I do. We need your support. With that being said, look, a few days ago, Reggie Bush posted a picture of his wife and his children. Those who don't know, his wife is white, so he has biracial children. And the portrait and image, which was a collage, says this is what the black community should look like. And obviously, it struck a chord, specifically with black women. But I know a couple of black brothers personally, including myself, who took offense to it, who hold a particular position mentally, emotionally, psychologically, culturally on black love. And here's the thing. While I personally am a strong advocate for black love and the rebuilding of the black family with a black man and a black woman, I personally know people and have friendships with people who are part of interracial relationships that I don't necessarily have a problem with, because I believe that the relationship is organic. And what I simply mean by that is the people were drawn together by something other than race. When you specifically choose a person because of their race, then that's outside of your race, then I see a problem with it, because it has a direct reflection of what you believe to be the best. Nobody goes out and chooses something that they believe is not the best that they can have. So when you purposely choose someone because of their race, you believe that their race has a level of superiority, and it is a reflection of self-hate. Again, this is specifically along the lines of a generalization of this idea. The first thing I want to get to is, despite the fact that the media has a tendency to put these type of black men on Front Street, give them the exposure that most men don't have, we cannot buy into the notion that that's the idea, or that's the belief, or that's the position that the average black man holds. Statistically speaking, 88% of married black men are married to black women. So there's not this large group of black men that's running off and marrying white women. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it's the behavior and the choices. First of all, I have never been one to sit up and say you can't control who you fall in love with. You absolutely do. Everybody does. Everybody has a standard of what they will expect. In other words, if you couldn't control who you fall in love with, you would be falling in love with criminals. You would be falling in love with rapists. You would be falling in love. You have a standard. You have something in your mind that says, this is what I will accept. This is what I will not accept. With me, it started very early on that I was going to be with nothing but a black woman. And it doesn't mean that I've chosen the best black woman for me, but to me, the worst black woman is better than any other woman out there. That's just how I think. I don't ever see myself outside of that, where I'm not connected with a woman that is first and foremost of African descent and black, and then from there. Obviously, I've grown, and so it takes more than just blackness, but it definitely has to be blackness. I emerged from a black womb. I have love for my mom, even though my mom and I have never had a son mother relationship. I was reared by my great grandparents. I have an immense love and appreciation for the womb that produced me. I emerged from a black womb. And with that in mind, I have a certain level of appreciation for the black womb. I also was nurtured by a black woman, my great grandmother, so I have an immense appreciation for the uniqueness of the black woman and the black woman's experience, especially descendants of slaves in this world. But in beyond the United States, I have this thing. So when I'm looking at things, I'm looking at it from a perspective. And while I don't agree with everything the brother did, I think one of the most powerful quotes that I've seen concerning black love came from Umar Johnson, when he said that the strongest commitment to black empowerment and the black struggle that a black man can make is being committed to a black woman. And I believe that. I believe what Neela Fuller Jr. said is that who you sleep with has a massive impact on how you think. And so when you choose a mate, you're not simply saying this is somebody I like. You're sitting up and saying it's a reflection of how I see myself. It's a reflection of how I view myself in the world. So when I purposely go out and choose someone other than someone who looks like me, it's a reflection of how I see myself. And I try to tell people all the time, my wife and I have been having this discussion. And while I agree with her 100% in that women have to protect and carry themselves in a certain way and guard themselves from how they present themselves to black men, I don't think it's their presentation to black men that creates this idea to go out and seek a white woman. I think that black women need to protect themselves because they are valuable. I think they need to protect themselves because they are worthy of protection, and that they shouldn't just let anybody into their space. They shouldn't just give their bodies to anybody. But no matter what they do, if a black man has it in his mind that a white woman is the prize, that's a reflection of how he sees himself. And what I try to explain to people is you can't see a white woman as being exceptional and superior to a black woman without subliminally and subconsciously seeing the white man as superior to you. And there lies the problem. See, in getting a white woman, you are now trying to put yourself on the same level with a white man whom you subconsciously see as being at a higher level than yourself. When you truly love yourself, when you truly see the power in yourself, you see the beauty and the power in the black woman. This is not about hatred of any other group. It's about loving oneself. Now, to me, I see white men marry outside of their race, including marrying black women. I see Asian men marrying outside of their race, including marrying black women. I see Latino men. I see Italian men. I see Arab men, all marrying outside of their race and marrying black, including black women. What I don't see with any of those races are them degrading and belittling and promoting the racial element of what they're doing as in a way to denigrate the women who are a part of their race. In other words, you can choose someone outside of your race without having anything negative to say about those within it. And when you do say something negative, you are reflecting how you see yourself. Because what I can tell you is there's no such thing as white women being more docile. They are as conniving and probably more conniving than any black woman you can ever imagine. I studied. They are more likely to kill their spouse than a black woman. That I've studied. And so you're not necessarily getting, but here's the thing. On top of that, I think the conversation my wife and I have had is more along the lines of when black men achieve a certain level of success. The idea of celebrating that success comes along with a certain desire to go out and get a white woman. Where does that come from? It comes from the access to certain white women that wealth creates because, believe it or not, white women are literally conditioned, trained, and raised up to seek financial security. We love to peg our women, our black beautiful women, as gold diggers, but trust me when I tell you that financial security is a part of the upbringing of the average white female. So she's looking for someone. And so when a black man achieves a certain level of financial success, he becomes obtainable, or he becomes appealing. Excuse me. He becomes appealing to her. So she is now open to receiving him in where in most instances she would not be. This isn't primarily about love. This is about financial security. This is about securing the bag. This is about giving her and her progeny the best possible to be financially set. And so you see this consistently with black men who have achieved a certain level of financial success, financial wealth. The problem is you cannot, my issue even isn't even so much that these men are choosing white women. My thing is you're choosing white women and you're choosing or acting as if you are now a voice for black men. You know, the reason that black no, the reason you chose is this thing and this idea in your head. Second and foremost, you have lost your ability to speak specifically to certain issues within the black community because you have a conflict of interest. Like Neely Fuller Jr. said, psychologically, when you choose to mate with someone, it impacts your thinking. If you are with someone, their culture, their desires, their needs should be your primary priority. If not, then you're out of line in the marriage. So when you marry someone outside of your race, you pull yourself out of a solidified position into a position where there will be times that your interests in love and family will be in direct conflict with your interests as a black man. That's just the reality of it. And here's my thing. If that's what you've chosen, if that's the situation life has put you in, and there are a lot of different positions that will put a man in a situation where he may be exposed to more women that don't look like him than not. And he chooses one and he builds a family with one, fine. But your ability to speak directly and solely from a place of unapologetic blackness has been compromised. Why? Because your number one responsibility is your wife and your children. And that creates a situation. Again, if that's what you've chosen, that's it. My thing is when you speak against blackness, when you directly attack the black woman to justify your choice in women, I have a major problem with that. Again, you come from a black womb. There should be a certain level of respect and appreciation on that alone. A black woman is the only woman, in my opinion, that can understand my plight completely. Is she the only woman that can love me? No. Is she the only woman that can make a decent mate for me? No. But is she the only woman that can look at me and without me saying a word, get an idea of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through based off of how her experiences are in a direct association with mine? Absolutely. And there's something that goes along with that. You cannot rebuild the black family. And I think my biggest thing with Reggie Bush is this is how, his statement, this is how the black community should look. What are you really saying? What is it about your situation that improves the black community? What is it about your situation that takes us to a place that we cannot get to within ourselves? What makes your situation better? And then when he was called on it, he said that that woman saved his life. And if it wouldn't be for her, she wouldn't be here. I don't know what he went through, what's going on, but I can guarantee you that the average black woman would have been in a better situation and a better position to do the same thing for him that she would have done it for him. And my thing is, I'm not detracting from that, but my thing is when you start to look at that person and somehow see a greater value in her than you see in the black woman, that's the problem I have. I have a problem with how we've diminished and deprioritized the black woman, how we've come up with the notion that we can create a black community without a black womb. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the way that mainstream wants to promote and put and on the front stage, black men who speak against black women. I have a problem with situations in which anytime I promote black women, there are black men showing up on my posts calling me a simp. When I've taken care of other black men's progeny because they haven't. But when I've stood up and stepped in and did everything I can for my people, because I refuse to diminish and disrespect the black woman, I'm a simp. Well, I would rather be a simp. And of course, it's always these clowns that want to do it on social media. You know, nobody's going to step to me uh, and actually say it to my face. They come on under the guise of anonymity with no real picture of who they are, no real name, and they get bold. Because, don't get it twisted. You know, there's still a piece of the old me there that will always be there. Because, see, that piece of me needs to be there to protect my black queen, to protect my beautiful black children. And what I think that we have to be honest with as men, this isn't about the mate you choose. It's the behavior. See, now the true nature is your choices and your behavior reflects your character. It reflects what your value system is. It tells everyone who you are. You can say you're pro black, but there's nothing more pro black than choosing a mate that's black. It's hard to argue pro blackness when your number one priority isn't black. I'm not saying that you can't take positions, that you can't make moves. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that once you reach a certain point and you make a decision that you are marrying outside of your race, that comes with something that if you're going to be a good husband, your number one priority has to be your wife. Period. And I will tell any black man, you're married to her. Your number one priority is the person you're married to. Well, now you have a conflict of interest because their culture, their reality, their needs are not going to always align with what's going on in the black community. And your number one responsibility is your wife. And if that's where you're at, that's okay. But what in that requires that you attack black women to justify it? If you truly believe you married your soulmate, you don't need to justify it. You don't need to come up with any reason why you've done it. Matter of fact, people will see it over time. They will see the love you have. They will see the commitment you have. They will see what you get out of it. And they will say, I'm feeling it. I have friends who are in interracial marriages. And I respect it and I see the love and I see the commitment and I'm okay with it. But they also understand. And when they deal with me, they know, hey, look, this is what I'm going on. And I have two where I'm actually closer with the white wife because that's how I actually met the husband was through doing business with the white wife. And we ended up having long-term relationships. My thing is, I'm not that to judge that, but and they know there's just certain things you can't get involved with me because there's a conflict of interest. Either you're a good husband and there's a conflict of interest, or you're not a good husband. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with men not stepping into that role and not putting their woman first. So when you choose a woman, you got to think like that. This is who I'm committing to, and this commitment will impact how I move in my life. But what I don't have to do is choose outside of my race and then denigrate the people in my race to justify my decision. If you chose somebody that's worthy of your choice, you don't need to justify it. You don't need anything. And I'm a person that has a problem with people justifying things with someone else anyway. The same way that when you challenge somebody in the political arena about their failures, they bring up that they're at least not as bad as this person. No, we're talking about your character, not theirs. You should be able to stand on your own character. You should be able to stand on your own choices. You should be able to say, I made this decision and I'm standing on it, and I believe I made a great decision, without having to tear anybody else down to make what your decision look good. If you chose the right person for you, it will speak for itself. And if it speaks for itself, live with it. And that's the thing about choosing a mate. You're living with it. And if you're okay with living with it, it shouldn't matter what other people think and justify. But the thing is, if you are choosing someone solely because they're not black, that speaks to how you see yourself, whether you want to admit it or not. It's a reflection of self-hatred, because the more you love yourself, the more you see inside of yourself, the more you can see that in someone who looks like you. There's a certain beauty I see in black women that I don't see in anyone else. Not attacking anyone, not tearing anyone down, not sitting up. I don't have to send any negative energy to any other race to love mine. And that's the beauty about it. Anytime that a black person starts to talk pro-blackness, it's immediately associated with hatred. No, I don't hate anyone else. I just love myself more. I love my people more. My people are on the front of my desires to be the best I can be. I don't have time to have hatred for anyone else. Now, if you step towards my people in the wrong way, you will feel whatever energy and wrath and power I have to move you back. But I'm not going around pointing finger and having animosity towards anybody that hasn't shown direct animosity towards me or my family. I'm about loving my family and loving my people. And those people who treat me with respect will get respect. Those people who treat me with honor will get honor. I have no problem with doing that. But when you come at my people wrong, I'm going to push with every ounce of force I have back at you, because I love my people and I love me. And I love me at a level that I have to be able to see me in my woman. And so we have to get past this notion that there's some social value to stepping outside of ourselves. We've got to reprioritize and elevate the black woman. She deserves it. This isn't about hating anybody else. This is about loving ourselves. I could go on and on and on about this, but I think I've made my point. There has to be a commitment. And again, I think the greatest commitment a black man can make to black empowerment is being committed to a black woman. It's just, to me, that's where it starts. You're choosing a life partner. You're choosing somebody you're going to build with, somebody you're going to build a family with, somebody that will most likely outlive you. Women tend to outlive men. And if they're going to outlive you, that means that the wealth you create in this world will be left to them. So we're even talking about the distribution of wealth. One of the biggest problems we have is that when we get to a certain level of success, we see the social value in someone else greater than we see it in the people who suffered and struggled with us to get us there. And then we will put that value in wealth building in the hands of someone who will not reinvest it in the black community. And that is a part of the issues we have when we're dealing with the wealth gap. Again, the greatest issue I take with this is make your choices, but keep your mouth off of our black women when you make them. It's real simple. Choose and live with your choices, but your choices should not come with the denigration of women you've never spent time with. If you can't respect them, don't speak on them. On that notion, I'm out of here. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in with a little special announcement for those who have followed me for any stretch of time. Outside of the businesses that I run, like Myriad Business Solutions, the Visionetics Institute, Odyssey Media Group, I also do a great deal of work inside of the inner city communities in Houston, Dallas, and other areas. I'm asking now, as we push a fundraiser, that you support what the Odyssey Project is doing in the inner cities, especially with programs like Black Men Lead, which is a rite of passage initiative, and Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, which is a program focused on helping young girls, but boys as well, suffering from childhood sexual abuse, rape, molestation, domestic abuse, absentee fatherhood, and so many other things. The information will be in the box. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. First of all, I want to thank everyone for all the love and support that you have given and sent my way and my wife's way and the organization's way. Now, I want to just take a brief moment to remind you that we still need your support. We still need your help. Go to the description box of one of our videos and see how you can support the work we're doing. Keep supporting, keep loving us, and we're going to keep loving you back. Have an awesome day.
From a conceptual perspective, things people talk about it as all of the elements.